All right, enough about the losing side. Let's get back to Inter Miami and the young man who assisted Lionel Messi's wonder goal, Benjamin Cremaschi, the 18-year-old who has been called up to both the U.S. under-19s and the Argentine under-20s. Our former colleague, Doug McIntyre, reporting Cremaschi is on Greg Berhalter's provisional list for the U.S. senior team for the September friendlies against Uzbekistan and Oman. Herc, are you cool with it? A potential call-up for a young man with, last I checked, less than 20 Major League Soccer appearances.
For a provisional roster, sure. How many is on that provisional roster? Is it
50,
like 60?
I think was the reported number.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to imagine why that could be. Let's say it's the case of you're on our radar, kid. You're only 18, because there's also interest per reports about Argentina. So maybe it's a subtle way of saying you're on our radar type of deal. Keep working, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if this goes beyond that, that to me would be a problem. The United States men's national team, the Argentine national, these full teams aren't to develop players. They're to showcase your best players. Benjamin Cremaschi is a good prospect, but by no means ready to be a full national team player. Nowhere near the landscape. You look at the eights right now within U.S. men's national team player pool, and you've got the likes of a Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, Luca De La Torre, Malik Tillman, Jordi Mikhailovic. You've got some serious players who are looking for some serious time there and haven't got it. I mean, some of those guys behind the Weston McKennies and Yunus Musas of the world. To think a player with such few first-team reps is going to come in because Messi's there, and only because Messi's there. Sure, he's under the spotlight right now, but I think this is a subtle message of saying, hey, keep working.
So the provisional roster, obviously, no harm done, right? But even if let's say they actually call him in for these friendlies, I don't think there's any way you could make the case that he's a top 23 player in the American pool, or even probably a top 46 player, right, if you were doing a true B team. So at that point, you're giving him something that he's not really earned if you were to call him in. But the counter to that is, it's a different world, Herc, than it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Now you are competing, and in this case, you are competing against a powerhouse in Argentina, and the fact that he's got Lionel Messi, we know, in his ear with Inter Miami. Cremaschi has told us that he's talked to Messi about it. I think he's used the words, I love Argentina. So this is a kid who could very easily get away from you. And if you want to lay claim to him, maybe you do have to fast track it here as we look at the quotes. Here's what Cremaschi had to say. Quote, not easy, but not thinking about it right now. I've been in contact with both federations, and I know it's a decision I eventually have to make, but there's time. I've spoken about it with Messi, as we told you. He has asked me about it, and I love Argentina. When I hear that, Herc, I know you're going to give me the old man shaking his fist at the clouds. We're giving away caps too young. We're giving them away too easy. But I think you might be wise to do it here. Otherwise, you could lose them to Argentina.
No, don't do a predatory cap. That's not what it's about. Listen, Benjamin Cremaschi seems like a very...
It's a friendly. It's not a Nations League game.
Okay. So what are we doing here? We're just handing out caps to hand out caps? Listen, if and I say this with all due respect to Benjamin Cremaschi, who seems like a very, very good kid, and I love the work way. I love his way about going on this new adventure with Messi on his side, the humility. I'm absolutely here for it. But you were talking about, hey, go back 20 years, go back 40 years. No, let's go back a few months. U20 World Cup with the United States, youth national team. Was he on that squad?
No.
Okay, so he wasn't good enough for the U20 World Cup, but now you want him to be good enough for the full national team. Now, I know football is about moments, and you have to take advantage of your moments, and I think he's doing that. But if you're going to sit here and tell me that we're supposed to fear that the world champions, the World Cup winners, are eyeing Benjamin Cremaschi, and they're going to pull the trigger on that and call him up, if that's what you're telling me, and because of that, Greg Berhalter should already cap time, accelerate the process, I think you're wrong there. I don't think that's the case. I think you're reading way too much into this. Good player? Sure. Potential? Absolutely, yeah. Is he ready? No.
Again, nice middle ground then. It's a friendly in September, so wouldn't have to worry about being capped out or anything along those lines. We'll see what happens with those friendlies.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.